The way Florida did it, I think inspires confidence. I think that's how elections should be run, rather than us be at the center of a Bush versus Gore in 2020. We're now being looked at as the state that did it right and the state that these other states should emulate.
That was right after the election. Governor DeSantis held a press conference to praise Florida's election process. But what changed? Because he's the same Governor DeSantis who earlier today signed that restrictive voting law under the name of election integrity. Still with us, Jason Johnson and Mike Murphy. Jason, clearly knowing the truth and saying the truth isn't enough. So how do you stop this?
The only way you can stop it is by having an active Justice Department and the Biden administration and Merrick Garland making this a priority. They've got to sue these states repeatedly for violation of constitutional rights for access to the vote. That's the only way that you can do it. You can't shame these people out of it. You can't even necessarily organize out of it entirely. But Brian, here's the real danger here. I think people need to understand this, even if they say go after Manchin and say, hey, we need to get the, John Lewis Voting Rights Act. The issue is state legislatures can always move faster than the courts. So if you actually knock down some of these laws right now this summer, they'll just come up with something else next August right before the election. So the Biden administration has to be very strategic about going after these voter suppression laws and doing it in a window so that the state can't do something else to suppress a vote beforehand. And that's one of the reasons why this is a major priority, but it takes time to do it properly and strategically.
Mike Murphy, what does the existence of DeSantis, what does today's, in effect, closed-circuit television broadcast for Fox News say about the state of the party?
Well, it means Governor DeSantis obviously is trying to run for president, and he's punching his ticket for the paranoid wing with this ridiculous stuff. There's a market for it in the Republican primaries. I'm not sure there's a market for it in the suburbs in a general election, which is where the Republican Party keeps getting its clock clean, thanks to Donald Trump and people who look at the world like DeSantis does, or even from the last segment, Lindsey Graham. He's an old friend of mine, but Lindsey would not know what a swing state is if it hit him over the head. In South Carolina, a box of hammers with an R on it can win. And so I don't go to him for advice on this kind of stuff. So, again, it's all about the party turning internal to fight to appease the Trump wing, which is about half the primary voting universe. And it's that narrow focus that is screwing up our chance on a legitimate grown-up policy basis to go out and win elections and get back to having a respectable center-right party, which we desperately need. I think over the long term we'll get there, but we're sure tripping over our shoelaces like a bunch of idiots right now.
Hey, Jason, I literally have 30 seconds to ask you to react to word that one of the stars among Democratic mayors in this country, Keisha Lance Bottoms of Atlanta, announced tonight she is not seeking re-election.
It is a surprise, and there's a lot of thoughts that I have about this, but I will simply say this. This will be one of the most important elections in the country, not just about local African-American politics, but also about gentrification. Just like Washington, D.C., Atlanta wants to stay a chocolate city, but it's going to be a very close race. The last 5 mayoral elections in that city were decided by less than 1,000 votes.
Gentlemen, can't thank you enough. Jason Johnson, Mike Murphy, for joining us tonight. We'll do this again.